Okay, so semester 2 quiz review, adding a few extra problems. So skill code 324011. So most of the problems aren't that difficult. The main thing is you want to get x squared on one side. It needs to be positive, and just remember, no matter what method it tells you to do, when you're solving, you're just looking for what the x-intercept is. So we're going to move the x over to the left because x squared is positive, sorry. So we have 3x squared minus x, put in the correct order, minus 10. So unlike the one that I had on the review problem, there's nothing I can take out. So you are going to take and now it equals 0. So we're going to take the first and last term and we're going to multiply. 3 times negative 10 is negative 30. So you're looking for what multiplies to give you negative 30 and subtracts to give you negative 1. So if you can't remember your factors or can't think of them, or if it's a large number, you can always do y equals 30 divided by x. Disregard the fact that it's negative and know that you're subtracting. For me, it's easier to see all positive numbers and subtract them than to see a lot of negative numbers. I know my multiplication, so what multiplies to give you 30 and subtracts to give you 1 is going to be 5 and 6. So what kind of 5 and 6? Well, I need a negative 1, so that means my larger number needs to be negative. So then I'm going to take the number that I have out front and I'm going to divide. And so x plus 5/3 and x minus 6/3, and set each of those equal to 0. And reduce if possible. So obviously 3 doesn't go into 5, and the opposite of a positive is a negative. So my first answer is going to be negative 5/3. And again, order doesn't matter because it's a set of numbers. And negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. So those are my two solutions. So to check your answers, there's two ways. I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to put my equation in. And second memory, 712, and clear it. 3x squared minus x minus 10. One I can graph, and I can visually see that I am crossing at positive 2, and because we get a negative 2, the opposite of negative 2 is a positive 2. Good thing I'm checking my answer. So x minus 2 equals positive 2. And then the 5/3, so I can go to my table set, and I can change it to ask. Now my table is blank, so I can put my 2 and negative 5/3, and I get my y is 0, and that's what we're looking for. And sorry about that, let me unzoom it. So I have x minus 2 equals 0, so the opposite of negative 2 is a positive 2, so that's my solution. And then on that first skill code that we went over, the 11550555301, there are several types of problems. This one was in our review, or in our original notes on this topic. And then this one, the triangle, was not, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I think it was also. I think the only difficult is when the outside is different on each. Let me see, I think I had one more type of problem. But let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and do this one. come up with the other one. And there we go. This is the one I was looking for. Okay, so because the these two numbers are different. So the hard part about that, and this one's a good one too. So we'll do both of these. We have the surface area is 95. So I'm going to put 95 in for S. So 95 equals x squared plus 14x. So I'm trying to solve for x, and that is your dimension in. So we're going to move the 95 to the other side. So when you solve, you want it to equal 0. So if the 95 is positive over here, it's going to be negative on the other side. And so what's left over here is 0. So to solve it, I could factor it. But let's graph, always graph these first. So y equals x squared plus 14x minus 95. I'm at Zoom standard right now, so we're able to see one side of it, and I only need my positive answer. So, and we know it's positive, so the shape, it looks like this. So you can kind of see that it curves around. And I have my table set on ask, so I'm going to change it back to auto. And I'm looking for when y equals 0, and then voila, I have when y equals 0, x equals 5, and 5 is a good number. Notice now it's just going to continue to go up. So it's not coming back down because the other answer is on the negative side. So find the dimensions of the base, which is x, and that is 5 inches. Again, only enter inches if it's required. Otherwise, just put the number. Number 2. The pond has a length of 18 feet. So the kicker to this is you want to note that the 18 is the length. So you have 18. And notice that the 18 is on the inside. If it's on the outside, you're going to subtract. If it's on the inside, you have to add the 2 x's. So it's going to be 18 plus 2x and 10 plus 2x. And the 18 is the length. So this is your length and this is your width. So if you're doing this on paper and you're looking at your multiple choice, you need to write those down and label them so that you can answer the next question, because we're going to solve this to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to put this in the calculator, and the opposite of positive 600 is a negative 600. So I'm going to bring the 600 to the other side. So 18 plus 2x, close it, open, 10 plus 2x, close it, and then minus 600. And I'm going straight, actually, I'll go ahead and graph. So I see 1, and again, it's a positive x, it'd be positive x squared, nothing's negative. So that means that it should be way over here. We'll have a negative solution. You can change your window so that you see more of the x, so negative 40 to positive 40, and then I'm going to change my scale to 5, so I'm not looking at 40 tick marks. Negative 40 and positive 40, and again 5, just picking a random number, and there I have a negative and a positive solution. So I'm only looking for that solution. So I'm going to go to my table. I'm at 25, don't want to be that high, so I'm going to start at, it's going to be somewhere around 5, and I'm looking for where it goes from negative to positive. So let me zoom in just a tad. So there's 2 ways to get your answer. I can use my table. So between 5 and 6, I go from negative to positive. So I'm going to go to my table set, start at 5. Since I'm rounding to the nearest 10th, I'm going to do 0.1. If I was rounding to the nearest 100th, I'd do 0.01. So second table, and I'm looking for the closest number to 0. And so when it goes from negative to positive, that's where I'm closest to 0. So negative 0.96 is closer to 0 than positive 9. So x equals 5.4. Second method, second calculate 0, number 2. I'm looking for this point on the right side. So I'm going to go left and right. So now I'm at 0 and negative 420. So I'm way down here, so which I am still left to that point. I'm going to go over right just a little bit so that you can see my line. So I'm going to press enter. So see that line is really light. And then I need to go until y turns positive. That's when I know I'm right. So, and the turtle went by really quick. So I'm at y equals 343 and x equals 8. So press enter and then enter one more time after guess. And that's 5.4. And that is what we got when we did our table, which I think is a tad bit easier. Doesn't matter, both is the same. So x equals 5.4. So this is where your labeling is helpful. So what is the length of the fence? Well, super easy. I've got the formula right there. So I'm going to do 18 plus 2 times 5.4. So 18 plus 2 times, times 5.4. I started to do x. That's 28.8. And I have basically the same equation, so I'm going to copy it. And instead of 18, it's going to be 10. And that is my width, which is 20.8. So again, how did I know it was length and width? The length of 18 right there from the word problem. And that is basically it. Reminder on area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. And so you have to read your problem. The direction of the project, state, has an area of 380. That's why they equal 380. That the base must be 2 inches. So the base must be 2 inches shorter than twice the height. And so 2 inches shorter. So that is why it's 2h minus 2. So that is stuck in for base. And that's why everything is in terms of height. So you have 1/2 2h minus 2 times your height, or 0.5 times your height, 2h minus 2. That makes A the correct answer. And so once you get done, when you solve for the height, your x is going to equal height. So a lot of times I would write that down so that you make sure you understand what you have found. So I already have the problem there. And we're looking for it to equal 380. So the opposite of a positive 380 is a negative. So I'm going to go y equals, and we can do 1/2 or 0.5. Don't use alpha x because you don't want fractions. 2x minus 2, close it, x on the outside, minus the 380. I'm going to go ahead and graph and look at it. So I have an answer that looks pretty close. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's around 20. Second table set. I'm going to go to, I'm just going to start at 10. Change that to a whole number, 1. And I'm looking for when y equals 0. And voila, y equals 0 at 20. So what did I find? I found the height. How do I know? Because I labeled my stuff. So the base is going to be base equals, that's from the word problem, twice the height. The base must be 2 inches shorter than twice the height. So I'm going to take twice the height, 2 times the height, which is 20, minus 2. So 2 times 20 is 40, minus 2 is 38. Again, don't add any extra stuff. So that extra stuff is going to end up wrong, end up getting your answer wrong. And again, if you have questions tomorrow, please ask before you get started. Thank you.